Good morning, Bob. You are live with Pastor Carl. What is your question?
Good morning. My question is on Mathew 24, 40, and 41.
Yes.
There seems to be a lot of confusion in some of the supplements I get about the Bible. And it says 2 men will be in the field, one will be taken, the other left. 2 women will be grinding at the mill, one taken and the other left. I think a lot of folks believe this is talking about the rapture, and I think it's about the second coming. I use the Bible Believer's Commentary, and it suggests the second coming. I would like to know what my expert, Dr. Pastor Broggi, has to say.
All right. Well, let me respond. I think you're absolutely correct. Context is everything. And so let me just back it up a little bit. But of that day and hour no one knows, not even the angels of heaven nor the Son, but the Father alone. For the coming of the Son of Man will be just like the days of Noah. For as in those days before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered the ark. And they did not understand until the flood came and took them all away. So shall the coming of the Son of Man be. Now, interestingly, in the parallel passage in Luke, he again goes on to some detail that we don't get in Matthew. It's the same sermon on that day. One who is on the housetop and whose goods are in the house must not go down and take them out. And likewise, the one who is in the field not turn back. Remember Lot's wife. So he has just dealt with Noah in his coming, and then he says it was the same in the days of Lot. They were eating, drinking, buying, selling, planting, building. But on the day that Lot went out from Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. So contextually, he's illustrating this truth of one being taken and one being left with Lot and Noah. Who was left after the great flood? Noah and 7 other family members, 8 persons in all. And they walked into a brand new world. Who will be left after the second coming? Only believers. Only believers will be left. The rest will be swept away and carried away in judgment. And so the rapture is actually not in Matthew 24. This is the Olivet Discourse that is dealing with the time of the Great Tribulation. You know, again, I like to be technical. And sometimes people say, well, we're witnessing the birth pangs. We're really not. Now, we're witnessing a pregnancy, but we're not witnessing the birth pangs. The birth pangs don't actually begin until the time of the 70th week of Daniel. And so Daniel gives his 70-week prophecy. By the way, all 70 weeks deal with the nation of Israel. The first 69 weeks deal with the first coming of the Messiah. And then the 70th week deals with the second coming. And very often in the Old Testament, in a single passage or paragraph, both returns of Christ are described. A baby will be born. His name will be called Mighty God. That's his first coming. The governments will rest on his shoulders. That's his second coming, all in the same breath. And so what's in view here in Matthew 24 is the 70th week of Daniel's prophecy. And so it's interesting, and I cover this in my series called God's Prophetic Schedule. That might be helpful to some of our listeners. I also covered it in my series on Revelation. The birth pangs parallel Revelation 6 and the sealed judgments that begin right in the middle of the tribulation. There's an event that happens that 24:15 of Matthew speaks of, the abomination of desolation. Again, it fits perfect with the Revelation. There's 30 minutes of quiet in heaven. It's like people's breath is taken away and there's total silence. Why? Because the next 2 sets of judgments are about to unfold. So you have seal, you have trumpets, and you have bowls. The seals are broken one at a time. You can't see all 7 seals, but in the 7th seal, you can see all 7 trumpets in all 7 bowl judgments. And when they see what's left, it's just like, wow, it blows them away. And when Jesus comes, because again, that's the context, immediately after the tribulation of those days, verse 29, the sun will be darkened, the moon will not give its light, the stars will fall from the heavens, the power of the heavens will be shaken, and then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in the sky. This is the second coming. It's visible. Every eye will see him. The rapture, well, that happens in the twinkling of an eye. Jesus said, if I go and prepare a place for you, I'll come again and receive you to myself, that where I am, you may be also. But there was a popular eschatological writer by the name of Hal Lindsey Hal went to the same seminary I went to, embarrassingly, studied under the same teachers that I studied under. He was there before I was. He's older. He's 90-something, so he's got quite a number of years on me. But he created some turmoil. He used to be a good illustration of some of our homiletic professors of what not to do with the text. So he popularized the meaning in a book that sold, I think it was one of the best-selling books in all of history. I don't know if that has been surpassed for a long time. Of course, the Bible's the best-selling book. Pilgrim's Progress, I think, was next for generations. But I think it was the late, great Planet Earth that was the first book to surpass Pilgrim's Progress. And he propagated this error that this is in reference to the rapture. It has nothing to do with the rapture. 2 men are in the field. One will be taken. Taken where? They were taken away in judgment. Again, listen to my series, God's Prophetic Schedule. I cover this. I have a whole message on this that I think would be helpful to people. The other will be left. Left for what? Left to enter into the millennial reign of Messiah. Left to enter into a brand new world, just like Noah was left. And he went into a brand new world. Even so, those who are left at the second coming, tribulation saints, the rest are carried away in judgment. They will enter into a rejuvenated world where the lion will lay down with the wolf and the lamb, and the baby will play next to the cobra's nest. And there's a whole purpose for the millennial reign of Messiah in and of itself. There's a reason he doesn't just have one big comeback event, separate the lost from the saved. There's a whole series of events in the second coming program. So anyway, context is everything. It is everything. And there's an abuse of context when someone makes this represent the rapture, because the rapture is not even in view here.
Dr. Carl Broggi answers your questions about the Bible and living the Christian life Tuesday mornings at 11 on The Light, 88.7 FM, and online around the world at wagp.net.